Hello and welcome. Welcome to a brand new episode of Live, Love, Learn and Lead, the show where we have conscious conversations that facilitate deeper consideration of more intentional approaches to life. I'm excited for you to be listening in today as this episode looks at impoverished thoughts, feelings, and experiences and creates opportunity to learn, grow, and develop beyond the impoverished state of being. And that is what our episode is called today, Impoverished State of Being. Later on in the show, I will share a raw conversation with Kerrie Waring, exploring this very topic as we intentionally came together to set about helping each other through some experiences, some impoverished experiences, all of which are beneficial knowledge and insight to you guys. So keep on listening and allow us to impart some of our process and some of our findings and insight from those processes. For now, though, let me just introduce you to impoverished being as being in a state of lack. It can also be being in a state of struggle, but that struggle is supported and coming from a space and state of being in lack. Now, this occurs in the felt sense of our being, and it occurs in our external circumstances and experiences. So for me, I've actually felt and experienced impoverished states of being on many occasions and in many of life's subsystems, including relationship poverty, financial poverty, attachment poverty, spiritual poverty, familial poverty, and love poverty. Now, that's a lot of impoverished being. And I share that part of my story. It's only a minor snippet. I share that because the impoverished sense and state of being is not limited to financial, but we are looking at probably more of the financial aspect today. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure, being and feeling impoverished can actually relate to how we feel and experience other areas of life outside of our finances. So essentially, that sense of impoverished being is both circumstantial and felt. So it is sensical that we actually look at both our internal and external circumstances, experiences, beliefs, and attitudes that affect the sensate experience of poverty, because those internal and external circumstances and experiences, beliefs, and attitudes do affect our experience and the experience of whether or not we are coming from that sense of poverty, of lack, or whether our experiences are full. Yeah. So before we dissect, challenge, and attempt to reintegrate points of difference around impoverished senses of being, let's hear what came up for discussion earlier between myself and Kerrie Waring. Okay, so I'm here with psychic medium soul coach Kerrie Waring, and we're actually going to do a deep dive into the impoverished state of being. There is this sense of being a bit in a cycle of creating wealth, creating money, bringing in sort of those good vibes and abundance, and moving into a cycle of having that all dissipate and disappear. and it's for me, it's a yearly cycle, and it happens around November. That suddenly we have no resources, financial resources to draw on, and it's a bit of a scramble at Christmas time. So we're going to take a dive into that, Kerrie.
Yeah, because I think it's definitely something a lot of people encounter. I know myself, I encounter it.
Yeah.
Where, you go along so well and everything's flush and you can feel like you can up level,
Yep.
you
Yep.
take it to new levels of abundance, but they seem to be short-lived because, your car stuffs up and you've got an unexpected bill, or,
Yeah.
something else has been added, to your inbox of your expenses.
Yeah, or work dries up, or just
absolutely
suddenly you find yourself in that space of going well, things are going great, and you feel like you're finally kind of getting some breathing space and shifting up, and all of a sudden all of these kind of things start to happen piece by piece, that you have to draw on every ounce of resource, and suddenly find yourself so depleted financially, energetically, whatever it might be, but mostly financially.
Yeah, and it is always hard to come out of that space because, once you sort of get to that point, especially at, the end of the year when it is Christmas time, and you are thinking about all those extra expenses, it's hard to keep that positive mindset, and it is hard to sort of, have faith and everything's going to be okay. That's difficult for people. But you and I both know, and I guess the reason why I wanted to deep dive into it is because you and I both know that we can talk, we can chat, we can sort of say to spirit what's going on, because if it's a cycle, and if it's a cycle that is there, then there is something underlying that is causing that to occur. Right? Something about ourselves, some part of our belief system or how we see ourselves, that hasn't quite got the attraction powering through.
It's almost like a sense of it's almost like a sense of self-sabotage, and I want to kind of throw that out there because my cycle is it involves like the relationship in a sense, and my husband is the breadwinner and he brings in the finances, and it is a constant cycle year by year by year of him increasing his income and getting to a comfortable space, and then having it things start to happen at the midway point of the year, and suddenly it's all gone. So I wanted to kind of put out that sense of self-sabotaging as well, because I feel from his kind of energy to me feels like there's this notion of him doing so well that something always has to go wrong. And
that's hard when you're in a relationship. And that may not be you, but it may be your partner. And because you're creating wealth together. Then that entails both of you in there. And it's so I guess the only thing possibly that I'm sort of sensing at this point for your own personal situation, and for anyone that's listening, if you're in this situation, is to put healing into the mix. Send healing to the situation. But I'm sort of getting, you probably have to start about April.
That's true. Have your backup plans in place, but probably
it's a kind I'm just sort of getting, like, because it's a yearly cycle. I'm sort of getting so to avoid it hitting where it is now in November, to hit the healing in April would sort of for 6 months, I guess, but of course you could be doing it now.
That's right. Of course.
that was just what was coming in. It was certainly the healing would have to be regular and consistent and all of that for 6 months. And just popping that in. And I'm certainly sort of, there's some ceremony around it that could be done as well.
Yeah.
And I know for me, what comes in to me is, why are we not allowing ourselves to go to that place of where, if life happens, that we still don't have enough funds?
Yeah.
Like, as in, like, why in the good, in the season where the money is flowing, right? Why hasn't it flown in enough to cater through?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's sort of feeling a little bit like life does happen. Cars do break down, we do get unexpected bills, we get health bills, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Those things do happen.
Yeah.
But why? And I guess I'm questioning out loud.
Sure.
Why,
go through the process.
Why isn't there enough? Am I not allowing myself enough or more than enough? Why am I not allowing myself to receive more than enough?
Yeah.
Because
it's really curious in the sense that it's there, like that you have your financial resources are in your pocket, in your bank account, you're going somewhere, the momentum is looking good. So then why is it suddenly coming to a standstill? Like for me, I get just the sense of that momentum, and then suddenly it's all at a standstill.
And one of the things that I think part of it is, and this is, I guess, a little bit of insight coming in, and as I say that, I'm actually getting goosebumps.
Sure.
Is what happens is, for people like you and me, Jam, or soul seekers, soul travelers, whatever you want to call us, the fact that we actually hit a period of soul learning, or a period of soul reflection.
Yeah.
Right? And that causes us to retreat and go within. Right?
Yeah.
And therefore, that then has the momentum and the flow slow down.
Okay.
And therefore, your money flow slows down as well.
Okay.
Because you then starting to go through a time of soul learning.
Okay.
And so it's not forever. Like, it's just that chapter. It's just that chapter, right? But it's a kind of thing of, I'm still questioning. I'm still going, okay, I get that that's the energetics of it.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
What? And because we do, like, we are people. A lot of us have to go into the stillness.
Yeah.
We have to be in that space.
Yeah.
But why can't we still have lots of flow around us?
Yeah. And I guess in that sense, it's not just why can't we still have the flow around us, it's why can't we hold on to the support as well. And I think I relate that to financially. So why can't we hold on to that support as we're withdrawn, as we're tending to ourselves in our inner world? Why can we not hold on to that financial support? Why does that have to be stripped away at the same time?
I think it's not so much doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be, and I'm sorry for using that term, because I'm like, that's very definitive.
I think what we've got to do is, I think what I'm feeling is, we've got to renegotiate with spirit.
Okay. Yep.
yeah, and say, I recognize that I'm in a period of reflection. I recognize that I'm going within to expand.
Yeah.
But in that process, I have this, and this need.
Yeah.
And it's about specifying what our needs are in that process.
Sure.
So our needs are financial, that needs to continue.
Yeah.
Our needs might be that we actually need space.
Yep.
Like me time.
Yep.
Our needs might be that we actually need professional help.
Yep.
Like a counselor.
Of course. Yep.
Bring that person to me.
Yeah.
I think if we can get more intentional about that and negotiate that more and collaborate with spirit in that space to say, hey, okay, this is where we're going. This is the journey we're taking right now. But in that journey, these are my needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me, that then feels like it can shift.
Yeah. Yeah. It totally does. I love that.
Like,
yeah. I'm not sure why, but when you're like going through, renegotiating and collaborating and kind of, putting those specific intentions out there, I can feel something pressing into both of my shoulders, like not downwards, but through them. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. I don't feel like I'm pinned, but I just feel like there's like rods or something just kind of penetrating through my little shoulders there for some reason when you're kind of talking about that whole renegotiation and
because we've done that before. Like we did that this year when I had those incidences of when I'm driving to my day job and I kept having car trouble, and getting nearly rammed off the road, and had an incident of that last week, by the way.
Did you?
And our take on that was very much that I need to let go of that job.
Yeah.
But financially, it's not in that place.
Yeah.
So I do feel like I renegotiated with spirit to a certain extent, and was able to ease things for a little while.
Yeah.
And helping that by actually dropping a day.
Yep.
So sort of collaborating a little more with spirit to say, well, these are my needs.
Yeah.
And I will get there when the universe starts to deliver a little more and deliver me the position that I can do that. So I feel like it's the same sort of process.
Yep. And I think I might just add to within that kind of context to make sure that we cover everyone within the relationship dynamics. Like if your finances are joined, and that just means we need to also have renegotiation and collaboration discussions with our partners in order to kind of get on that same page as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So so it's those two folds, because you've got for you, like if you're in a relationship, you've got some of that self-sabotage stuff going on, as well as the journey with spirit to go within.
But having said that, I'm like, I've also got to be renegotiating my own finances so that I can come into that space of being financially supportive and secure within my own finances. So I actually would like to kind of make it quite clear that even though, we're of a certain age where when you came into a relationship, you know, you join the finances and, you know, what's yours is mine and mine is yours and da 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 da. And you get into that space where, you know, the finances are all joined and you don't actually personally have any backup separate outside of the relationship. And I think it's really important to put that message out there that we all need our little individual stores of finances to make sure that we're still supported and secure within our own individual self and sense of self, as well as have, you know, the joined finances. So
absolutely, and that's all part of the needs that you can negotiate with spirit around.
yeah, and I just got really excited because I'm like, I can actually feel those kind of little rods pulling out a little bit, and I think that's where I needed to come to that realization that, you know, the renegotiation is for my own finances as well. Like, it's for my business as well. It's not just, you know, it's not just to the finances of the family, as I would put it. It's my individual as well, and I like that. I'm loosened up a bit now. So how does that feel for you?
It feels good. It feels lighter because, yeah, I guess I don't see it. I haven't seen it as, for me anyway, I haven't seen it as a self-sabotage thing.
Sure. Yeah.
I guess I could feel the money leaks, and certainly had been thinking about things along the lines and recognizing where, when I've got money, oh, actually, I do like to spend it, you know.
Yeah.
Because I was recognizing where I'm thinking about spending it,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
But saying that, it's not like some of it might be I'm thinking about spending it on stuff that I actually do need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or things that I've had that need replacing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not being extravagant by any means.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, but it was interesting, like, just this flow of where stuff happens and you haven't got enough to get you through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think it's a little, and why can't it be stable?
Yeah.
You know, or continuing to grow.
Yeah.
More like, why can't, okay, it grows when you're out expanding, when you've got momentum going, when it's doing all of that, and then you hit the reflection, right? Why can't it be stable through that reflection period as opposed to going down?
Yeah, because the reflection period is necessary. We can't do
that's
without.
Exactly right.
Yeah, we can't do without that part of our experience. It's necessary to reflect on where we've been, on the things we've done, on our experiences, on our behaviors, our actions, all of that kind of stuff. So we can't be saying, no, we're not going to go into that part of ourselves anymore and do our reflections. We need to be supported within those because they're necessary. They're necessary cycles to go through. The financial cycle is not a necessary cycle to go through.
I guess that's a kind of thing of, like, you know, do you need to earn more in your momentum so you've got it to carry you through? But that's, I guess, for you guys, where the sabotage comes in, because you had more.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. So we had more. We had money that would have seen us through easily. And then vehicles broke down and hire cars had to be, you know, hired to even do the work. But that's kind of was, you know, that catch-22 situation of hiring the vehicle to do the work, but then the work only pays for the hire vehicle and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And all that comfort that we had built just dissipated to the point where, now it's like, oh, well, where are we going to get the money for this bill? Like now it's sitting back and, well, not sitting back, but now it's kind of doing the work and waiting for for the invoices to be paid, for the income to come back in, that will allow us to catch up on the things that we've had to kind of, oh, we can't quite pay that bill just yet. Can we just have an extra week or an extra 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that part of the guidance for you was the healing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would work on that and even do, a ceremony. I'm seeing like a ceremony around it.
Yeah.
So
sure.
can do that.
Yeah.
And whereas I'm going to get my journal out.
Yeah, I feel like you haven't quite gotten an answer to the way you're experiencing this financial downturn. So do you want to kind of feel into that a little bit more, or do you want to take that on the personal?
No, I'm happy to deal into it more if it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I certainly feel definitely one aspect of it is the renegotiating. I don't know. Because of course I'm sort of sitting here going, is it because of my childhood or
yeah,
I don't know, like, I grew up in housing commission and
yeah,
certainly always felt like, mum had money to drink, but we'd have to go without for some things. I don't know.
Do you, if you kind of just tuned into your body and just kind of felt as to whether, that impoverished way of being has kind of come with you and is unconsciously or subconsciously showing up now, does that kind of fit in your body anywhere, or?
I feel like it's one of those things that I've constantly sort of diminished.
Yeah.
Like that impoverished view might have been like this,
Yeah. Yeah.
And over the years I've diminished it.
Yeah.
But I still have, and because I no longer, if I've got to pay a bill or whatever, used to be years ago, like when we first would have met, I would have felt like a kick in the guts, I don't have any of those feelings anymore. I have much more faith. But there is this, I'm just sort of seeing like a lock. There's something that I need to unlock.
Yeah.
Some sort of view of myself or something.
Okay. So would it be helpful to kind of tune into the body and just connect in with the way you're feeling about your finances right now, and, seeing where that sits in the body, or seeing where that sits within your being? I need to say being.
I feel tense, frustrated that after so many years of plugging away, that I'm still in this situation. That's holding me back in some way.
So you're tense and frustrated. it's a pattern, it's a cycle that you move through. You've diminished, I guess, some of that tenseness and frustrated energy. The more you've experienced, the duller those frustrations have become.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's one of those things of actually added baggage as well, because it's a kind of thing of, as much as I've diminished that view of, oh, I can't afford this or I can't afford that, right, or being impoverished.
Yep.
And I do have more faith in that. You know, if I look at it, I've always, you know, money's always come in.
Yep.
But I live very bare to the bone, you know, and I live very close.
Yep.
As in, you know, comes in, goes out, robbing Peter to pay Paul all the time.
Yeah.
And the baggage that I have built is the fact that I have busted my gut for however long with my business to try and shift all of that. But here I am, these 15 years down the track, and I'm still in that same position. That's the belief that's holding me back.
Sure.
And I don't know what I need to see differently. I don't know, because that wouldn't have been there before. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't there before. It's come in because of the experience.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And I get a little bit, you know, like all these. I think even with, I was having this conversation with Nicole Pole when we were having coffee in. When I was speaking about, you know, seeing the mediums that, you know, on stage, or, you know, Florence is at the Opera House or whatever, and I'm sitting there going, I've worked a lot longer than they have, a lot just as hard, if not harder. And why it's never happened. And it's a kind of thing of, they just haven't had that block. You know? And because some of them, like, part of it is, I've got to understand how it all works. Right? Because that's my expertise.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Whereas some people, and some of them are mediums, that, you know, well, if I want more money, I just ask for more clients and it comes.
Yeah.
You know, and people say that to me, and I go, it's never been that easy for me.
Sure.
But why can't it be?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
So I'm just kind of wondering if you can just tune into the inner child just a little bit and just double check that there's no you know, there's no sense of having worked so hard and still experiencing the same experience no matter what you do.
Now, right now, if I tune into my inner child, there's struggle. This is what it is. I have a belief that everything's got to be a struggle. And I've had that before. Like, that's come to me before. And I thought I broke it down.
Hello.
Exactly. And it comes from the fact that my childhood was a struggle.
Sure.
Everything was a struggle. Like, you know, I could see mum struggle. You know, my inner world was a struggle. My inner world was a massive struggle as a kid.
Of course.
You know. And I didn't have anyone to rely on, which is why I didn't rely on the universe. You know. And but, you know, I'm learning to shift that. But yeah, like, I can just go, I can just let that go here and now.
Yeah, you can.
I can just go, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have the energy to keep holding on to that struggle. It can be easy.
Yeah, I can feel that.
And that little girl and the woman I am, like, we deserve it to be easy.
Definitely. Yeah.
I don't need that struggle anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of thing that I guess that's where part of me, like, was coming from when I was thinking about the magazine.
Yeah.
And putting it together that weekend. It was hard work, and I'm like, I'm not struggling like this.
Sure. Yep.
So I'm trying to make those different choices and going, if I'm going to do this, it's going to be easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I guess what I'm.
Do you feel that's good recognition that it is really for you all about the struggle, and your life has been a struggle, and it's internal and external struggles, and do you feel that that's enough for you to have recognized, and like I felt you do that whole release, you're done with it, it's no longer present, it's no longer I felt that
53 years. Jeez.
Yeah. I feel that's a really good space for you to come to. Like, I actually feel it's quite an emotional space, and I feel like you need to, go off and journal and perhaps kind of release just a little bit more around that. But I feel like, coming to that recognition and that just that sigh of relief. It was literally a sigh of relief, just massive relief once you got to that point.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like, just let it go.
Yeah.
It's even the whole thing of, I shouldn't have to struggle, like, at this point, going to a day job. What the fuck am I doing there, like nearly 2 years later?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And the thing is, I also knew that something didn't shift. I would continue to be there. It would just keep going on and on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it just doesn't have to be that way.
No. You have
And
the
I think, but the thing is, now I think it is, I have the belief in the universe to support the fact that it doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly.
Whereas before, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have let go of the struggle.
Exactly. Yeah. Yay. Yay. Do you know what? I think that's just such an interesting place to end up for you. Just so much recognition of where it comes from and where it came from, and coupled with the recognition that it couldn't have been released any earlier than this point here. It's a pretty good place to land on, I think. Well, I think that's really beautiful. We covered so much within that, like so much for so many people who might be experiencing similar things but aren't really kind of jiving with just the soul relationship thing, or individual finances and that kind of stuff. I think we got so much out of that, and I am so grateful just to be able to sit in space with you. And I'm sorry, I have to say, you look like absolute shit right now. Like, that's how much energy just literally left your body. That's how much kind of just left your body. You look like shit now. I'm really sorry about that. But I've come to a really good place and understanding of how to kind of move forward and heal this financial aspect, this financial cycle that we move through. And I do feel like you've literally gotten yourself to a point where you can, I think, maybe rest and restore a little bit after this. Go finish your journaling, and then I kind of get the impression that you're going to go sleep for a long time.
That's what I feel like.
Just
I
to
feel like I
integrate,
need to just go have a shower and go to bed.
yeah, just to integrate this whole process that we just moved through. So thank you so much
No,
for
thank
being here.
for
Yeah.
holding that space. You know, thank you.
Beautiful. Ah, that was such a good conversation to have with Kerrie. And I can share that it improved our outlook and our experience quite profoundly from that point onward, which is why having these conscious conversations is such a powerful act of self care and self development. Now, within that conversation, we touched on the experience of impoverished states of being, the cycles that we move through, and the challenges that those cycles present in a physical sense, an energetic sense, and a mental way of being. Major takeaways from the impoverished state of being are knowing our cycles, the cycle of reflection, introspection, and integration, the cycle of self sabotage, and becoming conscious of how we effectively navigate those periods so that they are less detrimental to our overall experience of life. And part of being able to change and navigate those experiences is actually knowing what you are experiencing, knowing what cycle you are in. Yeah. Additionally, collaboration with spirit on our needs, more specifically and intentionally, is a key player that Kerrie and I spoke of in challenging your current experience and inviting changes of circumstances. Renegotiating the rules of play, in a sense, around what you want in your life and what you are willing and unwilling to accept is also a key conversation to have, not only with spirit, but renegotiating and collaborating in partnerships as well. It's important not only to put out to the universe what you want and renegotiating how you are experiencing life, but it's also important to do that within your partnerships as well. Within the conversation, and quite dear to my heart, was the messaging around financial independence. This year in particular supports an upshift in having your own individual financial safety net, having financial reserves, energy reserves, and key foundational reserves, as they are the very things that will support you with safety and security through the highs and the lows of any and all experiences, and in particular through the experiences of the impoverished states of being. The January spirit animal, which you can access through my website, sees Quokka supporting a deeper understanding of implementing and installing those financial safety nets this month. This installation means setting up key structures, practices, and financial elements that support the creation of foundational blocks that ultimately serve as the threads forming your financial safety net. Yeah. We also spoke about healing, and I must say that healing the financial past, present, and future can be a challenge in and of itself, but especially so when it's a joint effort with a partner. However, desire and intention of increasing or improving your financial experience will be enough to invite the kind of healing required to promote shifts and changes within your body and being. Looking at the mindset and beliefs aspect as well, we see that they have an impact on our experience of impoverished states of being. This alludes to the baggage that we all drag around. Now, baggage has both a visceral and residual energetic impact that you yourself may not even be aware of. So, along with the healing aspect spoken of earlier, facilitating further change comes from the understanding that you are not your circumstances. And in this context, you are not your financial circumstances. You are not your impoverished circumstances. You are so much more than that. So, this draws me to the necessary actions of release, restoration of your body and being, and resetting your intentions around your finances and or impoverished states of being as being those paramount actions to take for your improved experience. Releasing the struggle, healing the body and being, resetting the intentions, and supporting the elevation of your experience consciously with the knowing and understanding that you are not your circumstances will play a powerful role in elevating you from the cyclic experience of impoverished states of being in your financial realm. Wow, what a doozy of an episode, right? As per the norm, I hope that you enjoyed listening to this episode. I hope that it gave you food for thought. I hope that those tips and tools are there, they're right there for you to consider and explore your personal journey with in the future, particularly around impoverished states of being. For continued conversations on this topic, please join the Conscious Connections Facebook group for after show conversations on this particular episode and or future episodes. And as always, you can connect with me on social media at Gemma Rose I am or via email at team@gemmarosegreen.com.au. For now, though, that's all from me. And until next time, remember, you are more than your impoverished circumstances.